A scarlet costume ejects from his ring, and in a blur of motion, police scientist Barry Allen becomes the Flash.
The Flash is easily one of the most influential superheroes in comic book history. First appearing in Flash comics in 1939, the Flash instantly separated himself from many heroes at the time. Back then, most superheroes were either Superman-like, in that they had dozens of different powers all jumbled together to create some super being, or they were Batman-like characters who without any powers managed to fight crime using their smarts and acrobatic ability. Now, what made the Flash different was he only had a single power, the power to go really fast. He was also one of the first examples of a hero getting their powers from a freak scientific accident, something that later on would become a staple of the genre. These are some of the things that allowed the main character of the series, Jay Garrick, to become a popular character of the time. In fact, Jay was popular enough to become a founding member of the Justice Society of America, a hero group which is known for being the first superhero team-up book, beating both the Justice League and the Avengers by several years. Jay's popularity didn't last, however, and like many comic characters who were created during what was considered to be the golden age of comics, his comic was eventually cancelled in 1949 during the post-World War II superhero crash. Yet one of the Flash's most influential traits were yet to be seen. Racing ahead to 1956, comic books saw the return of the Flash in Showcase number 4. This is also considered to be the start of the Silver Age of comics. At this point in time, comic books are starting to become popular again, and with it, we would see new trends. While the Flash returned at this time, Jay himself didn't. The Flash mantle was picked up by a new character, a police scientist named Barry Allen who got his powers through another freak scientific accident. So the legacy of the Flash was given to Barry. From here on out, the Flash name wasn't necessarily tied to a specific character. While there are legacy characters before the Flash, no other managed to be as successful. The Flash was definitely the hero who popularized the use of legacy characters. So with the Flash's success, we saw more characters take up the legacy of old and forgotten heroes. One great example of this would be from Hal Jordan taking the reign from the original Green Lantern Alan Scott. The old characters weren't completely forgotten, however. Eventually, the new Flash met up with the old one, connecting the Silver Age and the Golden Age DC universes together, thus creating a shared universe with both heroes sharing the same hero name. Rather than this hurting the brand name, the Flash being a hero name that could be passed on helped the brand. It's a bit hard to overstate how much this added to the superhero genre. Instead of having to focus on a single character for years on end, a legacy character gives writers the ability to evolve and write new characters once they felt they wrote everything they could for the last one. This means writers can develop, change, and even kill off a character naturally without having to be forced into a rarely changing status quo. It's why Dick Grayson's Robin was able to go through more character development in the last 40 years than Batman himself. A writer might be scared to permanently change an iconic character like Batman, but be safe in knowing that a Robin could always be replaced with another one if things change too much. I believe the greatest example of this would come with Barry's replacement, Wally West. Originally a sidekick to Barry, we got to see Wally replace Barry after Barry was given a heroic death during the famous crossover event, Crisis on Infinite Earths, where Barry sacrificed himself not just to save the universe, but the entire multiverse. What made Wally unique compared to Jay or Barry, or to most comic book heroes for that matter, was that the reader got to experience Wally as a child. And unlike many heroes who seem to never age, the reader got to slowly see Wally age, mature, and change as he dealt with living up to the legacy of his old mentor, and eventually surpass him in both speed and experience as an adult. At this point, the Flash's formula seemed to make sense. Introduce a character, give him a story, and once that story was done, pass on the torch. This was done successfully for not just the Flash, but many other characters that followed the legacy character formula. This staple of the series was eventually dropped, however, after Wally got so powerful that he could literally outrace death, and since his character arcs of maturing, understanding himself, and finding love seemed to be done, it seemed time to give the character a rest. The writers of The Flash decided it would be a good idea to replace him. This time, however, the idea didn't seem to work as well. Introduced in 1994, Bart Allen, also known as Impulse, was set to replace Wally as the current Flash. With Bart being the fourth Flash, the writers decided it might be strange to have 4 characters all named the Flash who all have the same power. and so they decided to make it so Bart was the only one who could now harness the mystical powers known as the Speed Force. This power being what allowed the Flashes to run so fast. This, in addition to his sort of confusing origin story of coming from the future, had a negative reaction from fans who didn't believe he deserved to replace Wally as the main Flash. This led to Wally being the main Flash again, and ending the tradition of new Flashes replacing old ones. Eventually, with no new characters coming along to replace Wally, and some of the main decision makers at DC being huge Barry fans, DC decided it was time to bring Barry back from the dead and replace Wally as the main Flash again. And in doing so, it could be said that the series took another generational step backwards. Barry is currently the main Flash again in the comic books, and is the Flash used in outside media like the Flash TV show and the upcoming DC movies. With the legacy chain broken, it seems unlikely that either the TV show or the upcoming DC movies will be willing to replace or even kill off Barry so a new Flash could take his place. The Flash's legacy of being a legacy hero is one of the hero's best qualities. It has become one of the most significant and one of the most iconic parts of the name. It's unknown if we will see another speedster replace Barry in the comics again, mostly because it seems to be easier to market a single static character across different movies and TV shows than it is to advertise a hero where the guy behind the mask changes every generation. But with this approach, something is lost. The Flash's legacy is that he is a legacy hero, that the name could change hands, and that the name can evolve. The Flash is a comic that should always be moving forward. That's why the brand was able to be so popular even nearly 80 years after its first comic. Hopefully, this is something DC won't forget as time goes on.